We continue our discussion with Nicolas González Cazares. Thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you to you, Sabina.
You are designing the new energy market. Let's explain what's in there as legislation.
Okay, we have this reform that we calling for this reform a long time ago because we have seen these high prices during this energy crisis, and we tried to solve this crisis and these emerging prices. So this is the first objective, to help the people that with these prices suffered in their homes to pay not affordable bills. But for me, the most important thing is to give signals of predictability and reduce the volatility of the market. Now is our first target. And I think that we have to do that in a fast mode. This should be a fast reform. And at the end of the year, we have to agree in this reform. During this summer, we have to put on the table the best solution for the whole market.
But how do you do this? How do you decrease the volatility, and how do you make such a market predictable, actually?
Yes, we have a good proposal from the Commission, but I think it's not good enough. We should go much deeper than the Commission and propose more things. The Commission proposed to solve the volatility of the market with long-term strategy, or medium-term, like bilateral contracts like PPAs, and also CFD, contract for difference. At the end, it will help to long-term predictability, but we need more. We need to have some measures, some tools, that if we have an emergency, we have high peak crisis again, we can solve automatically and not wait until the crisis is over and so on. So we need more measures. And one of the more measures could be a cap of the revenue for the companies. So we can introduce a cap that helps the people to pay their bills because the bills are more affordable than the previous crisis. You know, we have a market that relies too much in fossil fuels. We have to bet in more renewables. But by meantime, we have this problem of gas prices. And now gas prices are not very high. But what can happen in the next year? So we have to be ready for this possibility. It's not only our reactive measures. We have to implement automatic measures to have this in the legislation that the member states can activate these measures if they have a problem of high prices.
We've seen the Iberic measures taken by your state, by Spain, and afterwards by Portugal in tackling this situation, the energy crisis. Will you make these measures European ones? Is it actually possible? Reactive, I know, it's a reaction.
I think it's not totally possible for whole Europe. But not identical. We can introduce some measures that looks like the Iberian exception. I can see very difficult to introduce the Iberian exception for whole Europe. I can remember that we worked very close with my colleagues from the socialists in Romania, with my colleague Danica, to try to understand what was happening in the market. And I think the Iberian exception was good for Spain and Portugal, but for the whole Europe, we need to have measures that fit for all. And one of these could be that some kind of decoupling gas prices for electricity prices. They could help to avoid volatility, and also other measures that was proposed for the Commission, like the PPAs, these bilateral contracts, long-term contracts, and of course contracts for difference, and other measures that could be on the table. But in any case, we have to reduce also speculation in the markets, and give long-term signals to the markets are also helping to reduce this speculation.
I will ask you directly, who is guilty for this crisis, for this energy crisis?
First, let me be clear, let me be honest. First is Putin, because he reduced the supply of gas to Europe, and we had to search more gas in other places. We introduced very good measures. We reduced our consumption when it comes to gas, but it helped us, but we pay a big price. But finally, I think that we have a very big dependence on fossil fuel. So if we promote renewables, we can reduce our fossil dependence and our gas dependence that at the end is also a Russian dependence. We search for other supplies all over the world, mainly US and other countries, and it was a good solution. But the real guilty, I think, is Vladimir Putin in this case.
What will the European Union do next in order to protect its citizens?
Okay, this reform should be to protect the citizens and also to protect vulnerable citizens. We are trying to introduce some measures that protect, for example, vulnerable citizens for disconnection of the electricity companies. If you have problems to pay your bill, you need a minimum of electricity to continue your life because you have children and so on, and you don't have enough money to pay the bills. We try to help these citizens in order to protect them, for example, during a winter with a peak of prices in the electricity market. We have to do that. We should do that because it's also a social obligation. And remember, we are socialists and we try to do so.
In the end of our discussion, what is your message for the Romanians who are watching you right now and are trying to understand what's coming next in this crisis?
First, my message is there was a big volatility and we had to avoid it. And we should protect consumers, mostly vulnerable consumers. But at the end, we should promote also renewables. But trust in the European Union, because we are going to introduce automatic measures to reduce the volatility and at the end reduce the high bills that have paid before.
Thank you so much, Nicolas González Casares.
Thank you to you, Sabine, again.
Vouă celor de acasă vă spun să rămâneți pe Antena 3 CNN. Nu uitați că ne revedem și sâmbătă viitoare la 9:30 de minute. Cu bine și sănătoși să fim!